What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to me 101. Um, yeah, so this may or may not be a quick one. It all depends on how the recording goes, how much time I have left over at the end. Been really busy, and like I worried, once I get busy, this sort of fell to the wayside, which I tried not to have happen. I did call it. I did call that I might have to start doing fewer episodes, otherwise they're not going to be coming out on time. And sure enough, that happened. So not only have I been busy trying to get the house presentable, because I'm actually having a house guest, which is crazy because I honestly don't remember the last time that we did have one. And what's kind of cool is that anybody that's actually a listener of this is gonna know who it is. Josh from Sand Dune Custom. So I'm always shouting out is going to be coming by for the weekend, which super excited about. It was, it's supposed to be the whole family, but things happen. It's just going to be him, but still, it's going to be really nice to see him. And so, during our free time together on the weekends, my girl and I have been just trying to make the place not look like it's been a year since there was a guest. No, it's house is always a work in progress to be a home, and so there's just been a whole bunch of accumulation of stuff, and most of that stuff is to organize the other stuff that we have. I mean, you know how it goes. So we spring cleaning. So it's such a cliche, but it does happen. So we've been trying to get rid of some stuff, set up other stuff that we bought, and just reorganize it so that it makes more sense. So you can actually get to places, and so I gotta say, I mean, that's going really well. The first couple of weeks, were a bit rough just because I absolutely hate clutter, and you know um, if you're gonna organize something, then it has to first get more cluttered in order to get less cluttered. And it's when it's at the more cluttered phase that I'm at my shortest of tempers, which is something that's a bummer, and I try to work on, but I can't help. It's like I get anxious, claustrophobic. I mean, especially like when there's stuff moved all over so that it's blocking the doors. So that say if I had to get outside for something, I'd have to go upstairs to the upstairs door, go out, go down the deck, and then be able to go out into the yard. Stuff like that drives me absolutely nuts. So tensions get kind of high whenever we're doing that. Usually I try and just plan it where it's like, okay, how about you do what you got to do downstairs. I do what I got to do upstairs. I'll take care of the kitchen. Get that all nice and spick and span. That way we're not running into each other because there's nothing worse than bumping into each other, just getting in each other's hair, getting stressed, and So I feel like this. I feel like that we finally turned a corner because last week we had to move like a Hoosier and then a bookshelf. They're going to be switching places, and so the night before, um, I basically just like handed her a piece of paper, and I was just like, look, you need to do a a blueprint of the downstairs, and you need to show me how this is going to go down. Like all the stuff that's piled on top of the bookshelf. Where's that going? First of all, you know, well, this is out of the way. Like, where's it going to go out of the way? And then where's this going to go? And she's like, really? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, well, I have it all in my head. And I was like, yes, but I don't. So once I do, then I'm going to be like, first of all, we'll have a plan. I'll know what to do during said plan. And, like, it'll help me just, keep from getting, like, tense when, the door's blocked off. And it's like, how long is the door's going to be blocked off for? So she did. She wrote it all down, showed it to me, and I was just like, thank you very much for doing that. And I feel like it went spectacular. I feel like, last weekend was the smoothest that we've, smoothest and most productive so far since we started doing, like the house cleaning, which we started long before, we knew that Josh was going to be coming, obviously. But, obviously it kicked it into an extra gear where it's like, okay, now we're hurrying to get more done, and we're also stressing out more because now there's like a deadline of when somebody's going to actually see the place. So in order to prevent, that added stress, I, just, nicely asked her. At first she was a little like, do I really have to do all that? It's like, can't you just, trust the process or just have me verbally tell you? And I was like, no, this is what'll help me from, like not getting all like, I gotta get outside for a second, and, like I said, I think it worked. So, but yeah, so between that and the fact that I've been having technical issues, so I do apologize for the sound quality on the past couple of videos, and including this one. The webcam still works absolutely fine. It's just the speakers on the webcam don't, which means that I'm using the speakers through the laptop, and that means that anytime that I now click a button, how annoying is that? And I know that that's how I think the last two videos probably were signed off as, with the big. So it's picking up all of the, extra things. So I'm trying as careful as I can not to bump the table. Thankfully, Lela the Loud just got back from doggy daycare, so she is just passed out. You're not going to be hearing a lot of ambient noise from her, thankfully. Because, yeah, I know that, it can get a bit noisy when she's playing and bumping the table, but it would have been 10 times as worse with the microphone. So, um, I plan on fixing that, but for right now, I'm just working with the equipment that I got, so I do apologize. And, yeah, so, didn't get the dog video out on time. This one's coming out a day late, so, I'm going to try and play catch-up, but what I really need to do is just sit down and get a game plan going. And I sound like a broken record because I keep on saying that I'll do that, and then I feel like, no, I got it, I got time, I can make it in time. And then sure enough, I didn't have a dog video ready. And then it was the weekend, and then I had to do the weekend stuff. So, Monday ended up being dog video day. That today ends up being, this one, and, yeah, it is what it is. So, God, I feel like I'm saying so much more. Now that I've noticed it, I feel like I'm saying it so much more often. See, there it is again. So yeah, excited to be having company. I'm glad that it feels like we're slowly kind of coming out of this whole thing. Although I saw something on Reddit where it's just like, we're not gonna be a while before herd immunity, basically. So, I don't know, get a vax, don't get a vax, whatever. I'm just glad that, I'm not gonna get called out for having a buddy come, from a state over, just to visit and have it be a scandal, I mean, not that there's a statute of limitations on the thing, but I mean, I remember my girl and I were very selective on who we told about going to visit my grandpa during, the height of it all, and it's like, if you saw how safe we were being, all the way there, while we were there, and then all the way back, it honestly, I feel like for Grandpa's mental health, it really was worth the risk, because it was like he said, the most he'd been outside in 8 months. First time in who knows a decade since he'd been up on Mount Lemmon. I mean, there was a lot that we got to do as safely as possible with him. That had we not visited, he, who knows the next time, if at all, that it would have happened. I'll be honest. So, I have no regrets, and I'm glad that we did it. But we did it safe, and it's definitely one that I wouldn't recommend. Following my example, but I feel like that one, the outcome outweighed the risk, I guess, is the I'm screwing up the phrase here. I do apologize. I'm all over the place. So like I said, I'm stretching myself too thin, and I feel like the quality's starting to show. So I don't think that it's worth putting out. It's not worth putting out 3 turds when I could do a much shinier, more polished turd each week. I don't know. That's silly. So yeah, things are, getting better at both works too. We both recently just got raises. She's going to start having a much better shift schedule, which is awesome. So yeah, thankfully we have a daycare place that's right down the street. It's relatively cheap, and they seem to like her. I don't think there's anything better than getting, even if it's bull crap, even if it's bull, lie to me, lie to me. Tell me my dog's amazing. No, I'm kidding. I mean, in reality, I don't feel that way, because I would like to know, so it's something that I can work on. I mean, I profess to know a little bit about dogs on this channel, so I would much rather hear that there's an issue with her that's escalating and, needs to be de-escalated, or, but don't, just say that she's doing great. But it's the specificity of what she says that I know that she's not BSing. So, for instance, one of the times that I took her back, so she was like, oh, wow, so she helped me out during playtime, and I said, oh, and she goes, yeah, well, one of the dogs, I almost said the breed, but, let's not worry about breeds, because it's just, a dog that the parents haven't, socialized well enough. So basically, the dog was being a little a-hole in class, playing a little too rough for the other dogs, and basically just not being aggressive, just being a bit of a bully, I guess you could say. No skin was broken, no actual damage was done, but just the dog, like the other dog would submit, and then he kept on going, and Lela was having none of that, so she was barking at him, giving it right back to him, basically putting him in his place, and the lady was really nice, saying it's just like, oh yeah, she helped me out, because that's kind of the stuff that she would have been doing anyway. You know what I mean? Like, taking separating the dog to try and like get it some cool down time. And Lela was just like, I got this. You go take a break. So really happy to hear that. And she does tell us the bad as well as the good. So for instance, Leela's always been a bit weird about barking. Um, you know, so whenever we have her in the kennel during the day, Steph comes during lunchtime to let her out. So she's never in there for more than 4 hours at a time. And it's nice and cool. She has her bone to chew on if she gets bored. It's fine. She willingly goes into it. She loves her kennel, especially because that has the softest bed for nighttime. So she naturally thinks it's a great place to go. In fact, at night we don't even latch it. Like Lila literally has a gapped gaping open doorway at night in the kennel, and she just willingly stays in there all night long until we go downstairs to release her, because she's just like, no, I'm enjoying the kennel. So that's not the problem, but every once in a while, for whatever reason, whether it's during lunchtime when she's picking her up, letting her out, to go pee and stuff, and just stretch her legs, or if it's me coming home for the end of the day, randomly we'll just hear her barking her fool head off, and we know she knows the car sounds, which is insane to me, by the way. The fact that I've seen movies. I don't really have many friends that are this much into cars, but I've seen movies, and oh no, what was it Jay Leno's Garage or whatever? I think that he had like Tim Allen on, and he was revving a car, and Tim Allen was trying to guess what type of car it was just by the noise of the engine. Anyway, so it would take a human, an obsessed human with a lot of car knowledge to be able to get it like, maybe 90% right. Again, in this show, the statistics are made up and the points don't matter, just like Whose Lines It Anyway. So when I say 90%, I don't know what I'm talking about. So knock it off, trying to fact check me. Not that anybody is, but it just to kill it before it even happens. So basically, what I'm trying to say is she knows exactly what mom's engine sounds like pulling up. She knows exactly what dad's engine sounds like pulling up. And it's just a skill that I've noticed that dogs have to be able to differentiate these weird human sounds that never would have occurred to in nature. So, like, there's no reason that part of their brain should have been developed. Like, the distinguishing different engines so I know which ones my parents are driving that it's going to be pulling up into the driveway. You know what I mean? Like, so she knows when it's coming down the road, not when it's slowing down and then pulling into the driveway. Same thing when I was, working as a dog trainer, and I noticed that there's many dogs where I always get fooled because in any given pet store there's going to be a manager with some keys jingling on the belt loop, and there's also going to be dogs with their ID tag and rabies stuff all jingling on their collar. And in all the 10 years that I worked there, I could never differentiate, unless it was one of those guys that just had like an unnecessary amount of keys, so it was just like kashing kashing kashing. Usually it's like 3 or 4 keys on a belt versus 2 or 3 tags on a dog collar. I couldn't tell the difference, and yet even young puppies in my class, somebody starts walking by, and I have to wait until they clear the partition so I can see, oh, it's a human, oh, it's a dog, and the dogs would look up almost 100% of the time when it was another dog collar, and almost none of the time when it was a manager with keys, and it just blew me away. And the fact that they can do that with car engines and stuff too, it's just another reason why I think they're neat. I mean, yeah, I'm a dog lover. What can I do? It's something that I don't think even a traumatic incident could ever rob me of. Now that I know them too well, like even if I got attacked by a pack of dogs, like even if I became a prisoner of war, and it was dogs that they used in order to torture me and break me down. I would come out the other end still loving dogs, because again, it's never like, it's never a dog that just attacks for the sake of attacking. Like, it is something that humans have done to the dog to make them that way. So I wouldn't be cursing the dog that's attacking and maybe even like killing me. I would be cursing the person that trained it to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you get like you know bit by a stray on the street, well, more likely than not, that stray has been beaten by other people before. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that I don't think I've ever seen a video of like a stray that just got so friggin' hungry that it actually went after people for food. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think that they have it in them. So, like, literally, the only strays that I've seen actually bite people. Okay, so one of them sucks and one of them's awesome. So I got to share this with you. All right, so there's two videos that I've seen of strays attacking people, and I was so cheering for the stray both times. So one of them was a stray, obviously tired, obviously hungry, clearly hadn't been treated well before. And so, the dog's laying down, and the person is tentatively approaching the dog, a dog they don't know, and the dog's laying down, just kind of watching them, seeing what they're going to do. And so the person kind of like touches and or pats them like a tiny bit, and then stands up and doesn't kick, but literally just kind of like goes to like nudge the dog with the foot, and then the dog springs into action and attacks her. And I'm sorry, but first of all, going up to a dog that you don't know for the pets was already stupid enough. Because the girl, not even the woman, the girl clearly couldn't read dog body language. So first of all, the dog was like, I'm really kind of too tired to do anything about it, but careful. Like when they go still, when they don't take their eyes off of you. Basically, the dog was staring her down. Didn't really do any lip curl or whatever. I don't know. It almost looked like exhausted enough to the point where it's just like that, or the lip curl hasn't even worked in the past. I don't know. But the point is first of all, you're harassing a dog you don't know. Second of all, the dog actually responded pretty well to what it perceived as the pets. But then when you stand up and it looks like you're about to go kick the dog that has clearly been kicked before, the dog instantly reacted. And you know what? All for that dog. Should have left it alone, or if you were trying to rescue it, you do it the safe way with a lot of knowledge. You know what I mean? Like you get animal control with a pole. You don't do it yourself unless you really know what you're doing. And even then, that's kind of on you if the dog still goes after you. I mean, most dogs don't understand what's going on. If they've never been pet before in their life, if the only touch they've ever known is in anger, So anyway, what I'm saying is that even though she wasn't actually abusing the dog, I mean, as soon as it went to like that foot nudge, first of all, I was like, first of all, what are you doing? Like, why are you nudging the dog? You're trying to get the dog to stand up because you think that it might be injured. I mean, like, is this done in pure ignorance, or was the dog right? And this was actually going to start to get a little bit, malicious, and so the dog just squashed it in the butt. But anyway, my point is that the other time that I saw a stray attack somebody, this is one of my favorite freaking videos. So, stray in the middle of the road, clearly been there a while, clearly had, no owners, and I'm going to assume that this dog 100% did not know this woman. But there's a woman walking by, gives the dog its space, dog's just kind of chilling, and then there's a guy that is coming up to the woman that is clearly not, there for a good cause. Like, basically, he was either there to rob, harass, or worse, this woman. And so the dog sees it all, goes up, and just destroys this guy. Basically, the dog came to the rescue for the woman that the dog had absolutely no, I almost want to use the phrase "no dog in this fight," but you know what I mean. So yeah, that dog had, no emotional attachment to the woman. It just literally was just like, I almost get the sense where it's just like, this is my street. I'm a stray, this is my street. I find enough scraps to get by, to live off of. So, I own this street. And then he sees a guy about to do some, nasty stuff to a girl. And it's just like, not on my street, you're not. And I just thought that it was super adorable that, like, I mean, I doubt that this woman has even given the dog a scrap of food. It did not look like the dog was looking up at her, hopefully, at all. She just gave it a little bit of a berth. The dog, seemed to respect that. And then, yeah, he saw a guy about to do some bad guy stuff, and he was just like, dude, like, even though that's not my owner, I mean, you still can't be getting away with doing that. So I hope the guy, oh my God, I hope the guy has nasty scars. I hope they got infected. You know what I mean? Like, screw him for being an a-hole, but that stray, it's just like, God, I hope somebody saw that video and, found the stray and, maybe gave it a home. I mean, because, God, that was just awesome. Isn't it funny how I always get surprised at myself that I always manage to end up talking about dogs when it's not the dog part? And then I have trouble figuring out videos. So, it's funny, like, I thought I'd run out of pet videos before I ran out of dog videos because I felt like I could talk about dogs for the rest of my life. And I can, but what should I talk about? And so, I couldn't believe the flea and tick one that was just staring me in the face. I mean, how obvious was that? It's like it's flea and tick season. They're out worse than they ever have been. Hell, I didn't even get into mosquitoes. Like the fact that, and mostly because it's more of a tick-heavy year than a mosquito-heavy year. But I forgot to even mention that a lot of the flea and tick preventative stuff, a lot of them will even do mosquitoes too, which, obviously, just like ticks carry a bunch of stuff that you don't want your dog getting. And dogs seem to be absolutely stupid about the mosquitoes. Like, I don't know if that numbing agent on them, like, works even better, but I literally couldn't get to her, in time, and I saw a mosquito go onto her leg, get nice and full and fat, and fly off, and she never even did the, you know, like if it's a biting fly, I mean, oftentimes they usually like have a reaction, but I mean that mosquito got its full fill of her and took off, and then most likely died because I'm pretty sure this resto collar kills them. So I mean, but didn't kill it fast enough. So I mean that mosquito definitely drank and then probably just flew off and then immediately fell down dead, but. Needless to say, she probably still has, a little welt under that fur that I can't see, but, anyway. So, yeah, in my latest video of flea and tick preventatives, I forgot to mention all the other, biting insects. I did mention that some deal with internal parasites and stuff, but, yeah. So, anyway. So, yeah, because of that, like, there's not a whole lot that we've been up to. I mean, we did take her, we did dinner with her mom, which was awesome. My girl's mom, not Lela's mom, obviously. That was nice. As long as you don't have somebody that's, super uptight. I mean, there's few games that are, as fun and easy as Cards Against Humanity. It's like what a game that it's like you can go as dirty or as clean as you want to. Most of them are a bit on the dirty side, but that's the beautiful part of it. It's just like a lot of times it's just ridiculous. You can actually get addition. There's plenty of expansions for the Cards Against Humanity, and you could do one that's more your speed. Like if you smoke pot, they have the pothead one. If you would rather get more absurd than actual blue, they have an absurd and they have a blue one. So I think it's just a great game because it's just like the rules take 5 seconds to explain. It's super easy. You get to be creative. In my case, I love reading the cards off in a character, so, if it'll be like, I can't think of an example, but basically, when I flip the black card over, I will read it with the same energy, intensity, and voice that I plan on reading it for in the read-through. I feel like that adds just a little bit of an extra element because, a lot of people will, say, yada yada, yada yada, yada. Anybody need me to repeat it? And then they go, okay, so yada yada yada, white card, yada yada. Yeah, that was funny. And meanwhile, I'll just be like, yada yada, if it has an exclamation point, and then I plan on rereading it each time. So the more people that play, the funnier it gets because, by the 8th time, like, especially if, like, there's been a couple that have made you laugh before, like, now you're like, yada yada, and it just kind of resets it, makes you start giggling all over again, so, yeah, we played some of that, basically, and, it was a lot of fun. Definitely one of my favorite games. I love the old-fashioned board/card games every once in a while. They're great for just, company and stuff, but even some of them, like my girl and I, when we have a free afternoon, which is rare, but when we do, we love to play a game of cribbage. I'm sure that you do. If you're a fan of the show, you already know about Simply Cribbage. They the former coworker that has her own site, and she's doing the boards and stuff. Think I think that the last time I tried to check her out on Etsy that I didn't see it, but I think she insisted it was there or it was still Facebook. But yeah, Simply Cribbage, um, wherever you can find it. But yeah, so like we have that board, which is our new favorite, that I have still managed to not spill a single drop of wine on, which is insanely good for me, because I don't know why we still insist on drinking the wine out of wine-shaped glasses, even though we just do boxed wine, nothing fancy. And they are plastic, so it just for whatever reason it feels like drinking it out of a mug or something. It's just kind of a little local, a little trashy. So even though drinking them out of a plastic wine glass isn't exactly somehow it's less trashy in my I don't know why it just feels like it's less trashy. Okay, here I'm defending myself to a freaking blue circle. Anyway, so I just like the feel of them. So, knowing this, for Christmas I got a Rick and Morty game. I don't remember if I've actually talked about this before, but it's a Rick and Morty game. So apparently, and why wouldn't they? But Rick and Morty have a bunch of games that are based off of episodes. So, for instance, they have Anatomy Park, the game. I really shouldn't even be doing this out loud. This is like one of the least local sponsors I could possibly be talking about. Mr. Meeseek's Box of Fun, Close Encounters of the Rick kind. So, they have all these games based on individual episodes. The one that I happen to have gotten was the Ricks Must Be Crazy, based on that, miniverse, teenyverse episode. It's a great episode, and it is even a fun game. It's just the rules. I'm not gonna lie, it took days. So, like, we started it, we got a little too, tipsy. We were just like, okay, I can't handle wrapping my head around this much of a new game. So, like, we had started it, and then, got a little bit into it, and then, we just stopped. We learned a little bit about it. Oh, okay, so that's why it's saying to do that, because, at first we thought we got it, but then we were like, oh, no, we read that wrong, or it's just like, oh, okay, so that's how come, it makes more sense, and it's a little bit more balanced that way. So, it actually took a few times in a row for us to finally kind of get the idea behind it. I have I'm not even embarrassed to say it, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, I'm sure, I doubt that there's anybody out there that picked up the Ricks Must Be Crazy, and we're like, oh, dude, I got it like that. Like, what are you must be stupid. No, it actually was pretty complex. In the end, it is a relatively fun game, but it's just funny, like, once we actually got the rules and stuff, we haven't wanted to play it since. It's like, we're never going to throw it away. I mean, because we do plan on, revisiting every once in a while, but, when you do get a lazy afternoon off together, typically you want to have one that you don't have to put too much thought into. So the most thought you have to put into cribbage is just a little bit of math in your head, which I personally feel makes it a little bit easier, because there's very minimal of math that you need in your life unless it has to do with your profession. There's, adding up, the price of groceries in your head, calculating, like, tip. I mean, and sadly, most people, break out a pocket calculator for that stuff anyway. I like doing it in my head. Like, for instance, if, my girl and I go shopping and we want to split the groceries down the middle, I love seeing the total and having the answer for exactly what half of that total is in my head before she says it out loud, so that way, so say if it's like, 925, then, I could say put this on one card. 925 is a horrible example. Like, probably the worst I could have given. I mean, obviously, when we're talking about groceries for the week, we're talking about, 100 or so plus dollars. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So I like doing like quick little math in my head, and I feel like playing games like that definitely helps keep that part of the brain limber. How many different ways can you add up to 15? How many different ways can you add up to 31? Anybody that doesn't play Cribbage right now is just like, what are you talking about? And I do apologize, but that's, there's obviously a lot more to it than that, but basically, getting to 15 and 31 are two of the major um, things of the game. So, um, so you start, looking at 8 and 7, 9 and 6, and then, 8, 7, 6, 10. It's like you start seeing the patterns. It comes a little faster. Uh, I still am blown away by how quickly some people can play it. Like, um, we went to a hookah lounge. I think this was in Arizona. Yeah, in Arizona, I went to a hookah lounge, and so I saw the two owners. And it's actually pretty smart. So there's a hookah, you know, round of chairs, table, a couple card games, hookah, round of chairs, and so there's a decent enough hookah lounge. Pick the flavor, they set it up, and so we're doing the hookah, and so I saw that they were over on the side playing cribbage, and so the average speed for cribbage, at least between me and my girl, is shuffle, 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 6 cards each. Take them, look at them. Oh, what the fuck is this shit? Oh, come on, what are you giving me? Oh, Jesus. Playfully, all right, and we're not dicks at the game. I'm just saying. So all right. I guess I'll do those two. All right, sorry. Oh, I hit the fucking. I guess I'll do those two. All right, I guess I'll do those two. Okay. Pick that card, flip it over. All right, and then my turn, her turn, my turn, her turn. You get it. All right. So this is the speed that they were playing. Like, peg, 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 peg. Like, they had been playing it clearly together for so long, so many times, that they were instantly just do, and it was insane to watch. And it wasn't even like they were doing it to impress each other. I mean, they weren't looking up every once in a while just to be like, is everybody seeing this? Yeah, we're good at this game. No, that was their natural speed, and it was a sight to behold. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else that's similar. But all I can liken it to is seeing somebody do sand art. You know what I mean? Like when they sprinkle sand on something and then they just like quickly shape it around, and then all of a sudden it looks like something crazy, and they do it in like record time, and it looks better than anything that would have taken me hours to days to painstakingly do with a pencil. So yo-yo tricks. You know what I mean? Like those master yo-yo people where it's like I would never spend the time and energy to get even reasonably good at doing yo-yo. Like, let's say 6 tricks tops is probably the amount of patience in my life that I would have had for yo-yo. And these guys can bust out 6 in about as many seconds. And that's if they're like, taking a pause. So it was kind of like that. So I was just like, well, not that I ever planned to, but thankfully I'm only a leisurely cribbage player as opposed to a professional one, because obviously I wouldn't even make the pros considering how quickly these people are doing that back. Anyway, I just I can't believe. And I don't know if it's that I don't pay attention to the news too much, or I just don't know what this channel is yet, so I don't want to go too far into controversial topics. But I feel like, I mean, there's so much crap happening, in the world, overseas and at home. And instead, what I managed to fill up half an hour to an hour with is yet some more about the adventures of Lilu, and then like a 10-minute rant about cribbage. Throwing in a little bit of Rick and Morty board game in there, but anyway. So yeah, like I said, I guess that's one of the reasons why I do kind of just want to like rethink the whole like which direction is this headed in? Like right now, it started out as just something that would be fun to do, and just so that I could basically have a project to because I always I'm a broken record, but it's like you know I feel like I don't contribute much. Everybody has a podcast. Everybody's doing that, and so for the most part, it's or at least the ones that I follow. It's mostly celebrities just trying to, well, especially all the comics. I mean, thank God comics had podcasts during this whole pandemic because I feel like a lot of them financially wouldn't have made it. They would have had to get to regular jobs. I don't know if that would have crushed their spirit enough that they. I don't know. I think that anybody that makes it big enough in comedy for me to know their name, besides the open micers that I shared a stage with at one time. I feel like for any comic, for me to actually know their name, I mean they had to have the bug in them to persevere enough that it's like, you think a little pandemic's gonna stop them? Oh yeah, no, they'll get a 9 to 5 job, and then as soon as things open back up again, and they can make enough money off of doing road gigs, they would have just thrown the apron at the person and said, go f yourself, and this will make a great joke if So I don't know, it just makes me happy that some of the people whose life was literally the social scene and crowds and gatherings and clubs and stuff that they made it, and it just sucks because it's not fair that they were able to when so many amazing people that sacrificed so much of their life to they made the dream, they saved up, they learned the ins and outs of owning a business, and they learned how to make some great dishes, and what it's hilarious what's considered an essential service. So I mean, it's debatable. Besides the fact that we sell food for pets, I say we. I'm not. It's not even a we anymore. But besides the fact that my former job sold food for pets, other than that, there could be no. Now, you know what? See, now I'm correcting myself again. You should never have any opinion set in stone. You should always be willing to have somebody bring up a point where you're like, did not know that crucial piece of information. I think I might be on the other side of the fence now. Thank you for telling me that. Because I just did it to myself. All right, how insane is that? That I've literally just corrected a thought in my own head because I was just like, oh, nope, Nick makes a good point just then. So, one thing that drove me nuts, and one of the reasons why I started this channel, is because of all the people getting the pandemic pets. The shelters were empty. Now they're overcrowded again. Freaking a-holes. I knew it was going to happen. I knew that people were going to have all this free time at home, and they were going to get an animal, just out of sheer boredom, and then when life started to get back to normal, they weren't going to have the time for it, and then they were just going to send it off, and, first of all, you're a piece of crap for doing that. It's a life, but also, not every animal can just be like, oh, I'm in this house now? Okay. All right? Like, there's some... I can almost think of almost every category, from like small animal to bird, to the bigger ones. There's at least one animal that like will imprint on one person only, and just be absolutely devastated. If you're one of those people that just got one of those type of pets and then ended up, oh my god, I'm not even gonna get into it. I'm gonna get upset. But yeah, sure enough, I called it. I called that there was gonna be people coming in, getting animals. So in a way, I almost wish that we had, not been considered an essential service, but we had to have been. We had to have been because we sell pet food, and honestly, I know that having something to care for during those uncertain times. God, I hated those commercials. There were so many of them during these uncertain times. So I understand that sometimes having something to care for, some responsibility, something to get you out of bed in the morning, like, for instance, having to take her out on walks, was definitely healthy for me. For us, for both me and my girl, but, for me especially, it's like, because I read something that, extroverts didn't do so hot in the pandemic, and introverts actually thrived during the pandemic. It's just like, oh, now I'm being told to, be a shut-in like I normally am. Well, now I actually feel like I am being responsible and doing what I normally want to do anyway. Um, most, I would say, I don't want to put words in other people's mouths, but I would say that most people that know me, and even those that don't, actually maybe especially those that don't, would say I'm an extrovert. I've always, I've always veered towards um, entertainment. Like, so for instance, I've always veered towards, like, doing karaoke or plays or, stand-up comedy. Maybe sometimes at work, it depends. At work, sometimes I can be the quiet one. That often depends on the job, the coworkers, and the environment. Because a lot of times, it's like if it's a job that it requires my full attention on, I'm going to give it my full attention. I don't have time to have the back of my head working on something funny to say to somebody that happens to pass by. Like, I got a task to complete, and I do it. I'm a good worker. What are the odds? So, that hasn't always been the case. So, if you're a former employer, that I wasn't the best, employee, hey, I'm sorry. We all grow. We all change, Now I am, but probably not looking to work at your place anyway. So, you know what? It's probably best for both of us that we had to part ways. But, yeah, for the one, maybe two jobs that I walked out on, I do apologize. That was not the way to behave, and I would hate if I owned a business and had it happen to me, but it would just be karma, baby. So, there it is. I always give my 2 weeks now, whether the job deserves it or not, let's be quite honest. I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong way to do it. Maybe now I'm overcompensating by giving them... Look who's awake, everybody! Lela the Loud has actually gotten up from her slumber. One thing that I absolutely hate about dogs, I don't really, but because I'm just jealous and I'm kind of being silly about it, but the fact that she has come back from a busy day of playing with other dogs all day, and that's in pretty warm sun, so, like, it isn't like she hasn't also been, like, warmed, not overheated, I fully assume that if they see them, panting a little too hard, that they give them a break in the shade and stuff, because she's never come to me broken, but she's clearly had a lot of warm times and a lot of tiring times, because she got here, immediately laid down, and didn't even want to come upstairs with me. She was just like, I'm fine down here for a second, so I had to, give her a couple of chances to finally come back upstairs, and then she immediately went over to her usual area, flopped down, and has been dead to the world since. But that was, how long have I been doing this? So that was like 40-ish minutes ago. 40-ish minutes ago, and she is like, all right, good nap, let's do this. So she's like, okay, well, Daddy, if you're still going to be boring and talking to the laptop, because she knows me, and she knows what I'm doing, and then this might be a little bit longer. So she's gotten up, stretched, and shaken off to let me know, okay, nap's done. I'm ready when you are. But this is also comfy, so I'm going to go back to laying down, but I'm also going to be staring at you the whole time as you talk, in the hopes that you stare back and maybe potentially we get to do something, play a little catch, go out on the porch, do all my favorite things that I like doing when I'm home with you. So, all I'm saying is that if I did a 40-minute nap, I would just wake up to go, ugh, I need at least another 40. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how naps work for me. And so with her, she was just like, all right, man, can't believe I overslept like that. Because, like, I'm talking to dude, like, you know, I, a half-hour nap after, like, a 12-hour workday. And then just be like, all right, so what are we going to do tonight before we go to bed? And you're just like, are you freaking kidding me? You just did a 12-hour workday? And yeah, but I had that nap. So I envy them. I mean, that's honestly something that I feel like we should never have gotten rid of. There's a lot of stuff I feel like we should never gotten rid of. Oh, I'm just now noticing how nasty her paws are. So I got to take a wet wipe to that. I didn't even see that when I first picked her up. Last time she came with, like, practically, like, a whole brown belly. So, it was a little bit more obvious. But in this case, I had not noticed that the lower part of her extremities could use a bit of a wipe down. Thankfully, it's dried stuff, so she hasn't been tracking it everywhere. But anyway. So, we all used to take naps when we were young, and then we grow older, and in certain areas, like I believe believe Spain still has siestas. I don't know if they ever get rid of that. I mean, yeah. So Spain, certain, especially countries where like the middle of the day is the absolute hottest part of the day, like places like that. They're still pretty common, but we're talking grown adults will take a nap in the middle of the day and be just as productive, if not more, than us hardworking stiffs. I mean, the whole system needs to be reset, and I can't believe that it took a pandemic for. Well, first of all, people already knew. Adam Ruins Everything? I hope I'm getting the name right. There's a show called Somebody Ruins Everything. It's worth checking out because one of them was the whole, like 9 to 5 office work week and how it's pretty much BS and how you can actually be more productive with 4 days a week instead of, 4 days on, 3 days off. You're actually more productive than 5 days on, 2 days off. It's like Dave Chappelle said. They literally, working 9 to 5 because 9 to 6 might kill a bitch. Lilu? You're allowed to bump, but you're not allowed to literally move the table just so you can get to something, please. Okay, thank you. I love you. That was ridiculous. I guess one teeny tiny little piece of kibble had managed to work its way onto the couch, and she's only just now noticing. Thank you. This one, please. I love you. Dad's almost done. I should be wrapping this up anyway. So, yeah. Basically, we found out, hey, we can actually work from home and be just as, if not more productive. Oh, look, I don't have to pay an astronomical fee in child caring because I can do both my job and also watch my child at the same time. And now it's like the true colors are showing because so many places are now, all the promises of work from home, all those places that I was on ZipRecruiter when I was looking for a new job that were like, yeah, work from home. So many of them had the caveat that it's just like, this is just for now, though. Once things open up, we want you back in the office. And from what I understand, a lot of places that promised, to continue even afterwards are breaking that promise. And it's like, well, yeah, it's because they want you, they want you. They want you, and slavery is illegal. Besides, criminals. Those are absolutely 100% slaves, and I don't think that's fair how everything needs reforming. The workforce, the way the workplaces run, friggin', prisons. I mean, there's so much broken, and it's like, do we all remember when the waters in Venice, got clear again? Do we remember when there wasn't any smog over LA, and it's just like, literally, if the whole world agreed, 2 weeks a year to just shut down, I mean, that might not fix the world, but I mean, it would make it go to crap a heck of a lot less faster. I mean, the world fixes itself pretty damn fast when humans aren't fucking it up. I didn't even see Seaspiracy, but I'm already pissed enough off about the fishing thing. But, anyway. Please check out Sand Dune Customs. Support my buddy Josh, who's going to be visiting. I'm hoping to be able to get a guest episode out of him. I told him that he needs to be the first guest, so he's going to be here this weekend. I'm hoping that means that next Monday you're going to be able to see his handsome as F face. I swear to God, in another life we'd have been lovers. So, so check out Sand Dune Customs. That's sand, as in the stuff that's coarse and goes everywhere, like Anakin hates. Dune, as in what you ride a buggy on, and also that awesome book with big worms that has been adapted to screen multiple times, but never quite gotten it right. I think Lynch's is the closest. And then Customs, where, you should get accustomed to checking this place out if you're going to be looking for tumblers, masks, and other merch. So, I don't know. I had nothing for Customs. So, Sand Dune Customs and, yeah, let's try and fix stuff one angry subject at a time, get a pet if you plan on having it throughout the course of its life. If it's one that lives really long, plan on having somebody that's going to be taking it over. You know what I mean? That's the weird thing. It's like, there's some animals out there. All right, I'm done. No, I'm done. I'm not going to get into another rant. Just basically, be kind. Life is chaos. Be kind. And maybe let's try and fix the one and only world that we live in before we can't live in it anymore and we don't have a backup plan. Bye.